Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 218, season 9. Today's date is May 9th, 2023, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I will discuss Robert Hall clothes. Oh, that's a store that still talk about today and fondly remembered. And also my memories of Mattel electronic sports games from the late 1970s. And I'll explain everything about those games. But right now, I'm going to play a commercial. And this program is brought to you by Almond Joy and Mounds Candy Bars. And here's a commercial from 1977. Once I play this, it's very familiar to a lot of people, and it's one of those catchy tunes you can't get out of your head for hours, maybe days, like my mind. So here's a commercial from here's the commercial from 1977. If I failed to mention that, so sit back, kick off your shoes, relax, and I'll be right back with the program. Thank you, everyone.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Almond Joy's got nuts, Mounds don't. Almond Joy's got real milk chocolate, coconut and munchy nuts too. Mounds got deep dark chocolate and chewy coconut. Ooh. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Peter Paul, Almond Joy's got nuts, Peter Paul, Mounds don't. Because sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Almond Joy and Mounds candy bars. Like I said, you just can't get that jingle out of your head. You know, ding, ding. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Almond Joy's got nuts, Mounds don't. I remember this commercial very well. This came out around when I was in 8th grade, heading to high school at Bogan High School, and it's a classic. You can find them on YouTube if you like to watch again. I remember at the end of the commercial they had the jockeys. One was holding the candy bar of Almond Joy, and the other jockey was holding Mounds, or maybe it's the same jockey. I don't know. As for the candy bars, they were introduced in 1946, and it was from the Peter Paul Company. And let's see. So right now they're owned by the Hershey Company. Peter Paul, I don't know. They were bought out. They disappeared like that. I want to explain that Almond Joy is milk chocolate with almonds and coconut and milk chocolate, whereas Mounds is dark chocolate and coconut. My favorite is I like Mounds. I like Almond Joy too, but I like Mounds better. You know, I'm a fan of dark chocolate. And of course, they mentioned that the famous commercial. And let's see. So in the 2000s, they were bought. First, they were bought by First, it was Peter Paul Mary. Then it was by Cadbury, and then they sold to Hershey. Okay. So I haven't had one in a while. It's not one of my favorites, but I love eating it. I really do. Maybe around Halloween. I get that. Peter Paul Company made some other chocolates, like, for example, I believe Caravel. Remember that one? Yeah. And what else they made? I can't think at the top of my head. So someday I'll talk about Caravel. Find a commercial. There is a commercial on YouTube, so maybe I'll use that for the next episode or some other episode down the road. We'll see about that. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I said I'm going to talk about Robert Hall clothes in Chicago and Mattel electronic handheld sports games from the late 1970s. Before I get started, here's something very interesting that happened yesterday. I saw this on Twitter, that the TV show The Bear is going to premiere on Hulu next month. As for me, I don't watch much current television. I watch old television, like on DVDs, or sometimes streaming, but I got a DVD collection. And I started watching the X-Files about last week, so I'm into that. I'm almost done with season 1. So once I'm done with season 1, then I got to watch stuff I have on my DVR, whatever I record, and do that. But I haven't watched The Bear yet. So they announced it, I think it's been announced previously, that season 2 of The Bear will premiere June 22nd of 2023. And I tweeted on Twitter, it's going to be June 22nd. I'm sorry. So it's going to premiere on next month on June 22nd. I've never seen the show. It's been discussed on television. Some of the stars have appeared on talk shows, especially the star Jeremy Allen White. He seems like a very nice guy, good actor. I think he's famous for Shameless. That's what that was another show on Showtime. A lot of people mentioned that. And it's set in a sandwich shop, just like Mr. Beef in the River North neighborhood, on Orleans Street in Chicago. Okay, that sounds intriguing, like that. And so I tweeted, I said, I've never seen the show. All I heard, there's great buzz. It's a wonderful show. And I asked my Twitter followers, should I watch this show? Is it worth it? And the responses were overwhelming. They said, yes, you can watch the show. I don't want to give anything away, but they say there's a lot of yelling and screaming in the kitchen. Well, I'm used to that. I mean, I'm Greek. I heard yelling and screaming in kitchens at Greek restaurants. Swearing too, both languages. So let's see what I'll do. So once I finish, catch up on my TV watching. Maybe I'll watch The Bear. I'll watch season 1. I will do that. It's only 8 episodes, so I can just binge watch it and go, or watch 1 through 4, then 5 through 8. And do that. And most of the people said it's a great show. You would love it if you're from Chicago. Other people said some of the actors don't sound like they're from Chicago. They're from Brooklyn or New York, from New York, or it's like might be true like that. But the setting was mostly at the restaurant and in the kitchen, in the back of the restaurant. So this is very intriguing to me. It really is. So maybe but one day soon I will watch the show. I like that because I saw Chicago Party Ant way back, and I watched season 2, and both seasons are hilarious. They mentioned a couple things that vanished from Chicago. I mentioned that on Twitter about that. So we'll see what happens. That'll be fun. Okay. Right now, we're going to talk about Robert Hall clothes. Excuse me. Uh, what can go? What? Nothing can go wrong with this place. It was a wonderful clothing store. So I'll give you the history of that first, and I'll give you a few memories, and then I'll play the jingle, and then I'll read off the locations of the place. All right. So here we go. So Robert Hall clothes, but they always it was known as Robert Hall, and that was founded in 1937. The founder's name was Jacob Schwab, and that was based in Connecticut. And mostly it was in the metropolitan areas in the United States, like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. And it started as a one store in Waterbury, Connecticut, in 1937. He did that, and it just took off, And the merchandise was wonderful. They had good clothes, men's and women's clothes. I'm sure that sold mostly suits, probably dress shirts, ties. I'm sure they sold. I'm sure they sold dresses. Maybe they sold suits first. I don't know. Then expanded to women's clothing and more of that. And so that's and then the commercials were broadcast on radio and then on television, and then it just expanded. It became very popular. Mostly, like for example, like in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, all the way there, like that. And unfortunately, it lost money within 3 years, like about 1974 to 1977. So in the summer of 1977, all the stores were sold and they closed. And the founder of the place, Jacob Schwab, died at the age of 90 in New York. And okay, so first I'll give you the memory. Let me give you my memories of this place, and then I'll play the jingle. And after the jingle, I will read the locations of the stores. My memories of this place, when I lived in Roseland in the early 1970s, there was a Robert Hall store. And that was located 2 East 112th Street. The same block, there was an A&P store about maybe a couple doors east of that. And that opened in 1972. It was later. And the building was kind of like, I don't know, it was rocks, like that, the structure like that. I don't know what was there before. I think it was brand new. I'm not sure. My mother took me there one time and she bought some shirts. I don't know about a suit. Probably she bought some suits there for me and my brothers. When we go to church on Sundays. When we went to church at St. Spiridon, excuse me. That was located on 113th and on King Drive, right near Palmer Park. We used to walk there. We didn't have a car. And they had some nice suits, very high quality, very nice. And then it closed, probably in 1977, which I mentioned before. And the building is still there. Then it became a church. The neighborhood got run down, of course, like in the 80s and like that. But believe it or not, the building's still there, and there's also the ghost sign on the side of the building. Yeah, it's still. I think it's still there. Yeah, so if you were in the Roseland neighborhood, you would see that the ghost sign. Rubber Hall clothes like that. So that's pretty cool. But so right now I'm going to play the jingle for Rubber Hall. And this one is they did a couple of jingles, but this one's well known to most people. So this sounds like it's from the 1950s, the Rubber Hall, the jingle that is. So just sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the locations of Rubber Hall. Okay? Thank you, everyone.
When the values go up, 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 and the prices go down, 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 Robert Hall this season will show you the reason. Low overhead, low overhead. No fancy fixtures, plain pipe racks. No show windows, no high rents, New York to Frisco, you just can't miss. So save on Robert Hall, low overhead.
Join the countless families.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the jingle for Rubber Hall Clothes. Oh, it's unforgettable. And it went like this: when the values go up, 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 and the prices go down, 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 Rubber Hall this season will show you the reason. High quality economy. And another jingle, that was the last line of that, but then they replaced it with low overhead. Low overhead. They played that commercial on the radio and television, and then it stopped. Then they had other jingles as well, but that's the most well known. When I went to, excuse me, excuse me, when I went to Framemakers last Sunday in Westmont, they did a tribute to the late Ken Alexander, who was on Those Were the Days radio show. The other hosts were Chuck Shaden and Steve Darnell. They sang and some other people, they sang the jingle for Rubber Hall, and I was laughing, and people in the store loved it. It was wonderful. That gave me an idea to talk about Rubber Hall for Vanish Chicagoland, for the podcast. Also, a few people emailed me and they messaged me, why don't you talk about this place? You haven't talked about it. And I said, okay, why not? Give me that thought hasn't, it's been stuck in my mind for a while, so I did. Okay. So right now I'm going to read off the, just a moment, please. I will read off the locations. I will read, well, in the city, I'll read off the addresses and in Chicago, but not in the suburbs because that'll take too long. So you'll probably know where they were. But if I have time, I will. Okay. So here are the locations. This is a newspaper ad from the Chicago Tribune dated October 4th, 1972. Oh, my birthday. So here we go. Let's see. So on the north side, there was at 4653 West Irving Park Road, 3111 North Ashland Avenue, and also 2935 West Devon Avenue. Now, a lot of people made comments about that yesterday, about that location. They did that. And let's see, on the south side, it was at 6331 South Lowell Avenue. That is on the Inglewood neighborhood. Also 9212 South Chicago Avenue, and that was in the South Chicago neighborhood. Also 2 East 112th Street, that's the one I mentioned in Roseland. That's the one we shop there. That's in the Roseland neighborhood. Also 4145 South Kedzie Avenue. It's in the Brighton Park neighborhood. I have a photo of that. The photo I put up yesterday was in Evergreen Park. So I'll mention that when I get down, when I read further. Okay, so now it's the suburban locations. Elmwood Park at 2728 North Harlem Avenue. Hillside at 556 North Mannheim Road. Villa Park was at 330 East North Avenue. Des Plaines at 1507 East Rand Road. Hoffman Estates at 110 North Roselle Road. Also in Mundelein, Route 45 and 83. Also in Glenview at 580 Waukegan Road. Also at East Dundee at 220 South Dundee Avenue. Let's see, Waukegan 2 South Park Avenue. Also in Berwyn, 6441 West Cermak Road. Also at LaGrange, 5725 South LaGrange Road. Downers Grove at 1224 South Ogden Avenue. West Chicago at 30 West 420 Roosevelt Road. Norland Park at 14325 South LaGrange Road. I remember that store. Also, the Evergreen Park store, which was, that's the photo I posted yesterday, and that's at 2925 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park, Illinois. Also at Harvey at Sibling Boulevard and Dixie Highway. I don't know if that was at Dixie Mall. Maybe it was. I'm not sure. Also, Chicago Heights at 521 West 14th Street. Also in Oak Lawn. I don't think it was Oak Lawn. I think it was Burbank. Yeah, I think it was Burbank. I'm trying to think. Yeah, 7100 West 79th Street. I think it was Burbank. Yeah, Burbank was founded later. A lot of people remember that store very well. They really did. Also, Joliet at 354 North Chicago Street, and in Aurora at 115 South Broadway. And there were 4 locations in Indiana, one in Gary, one in Hammond, the other one in Highland, and the other one in Maryville. So I did read all of them. Yeah, I apologize. But, the memories of that store came from my followers on Twitter and Facebook. They mentioned they bought their clothes at Easter time, Christmas time, mostly Easter. They bought some shoes, hats, men's hat. I'm talking about back then in the 40s and 50s. Hats and mostly, and let's see what else. Belts, ties, like that. Dress shirts. And the funny thing is, I'm reading through the comments, and people just mentioned the locations where they shop, where they remembered. It's a good thing I read the locations. Some people have forgotten, or they just, once I read the location, it triggered a memory for them. People who don't live here anymore, or who still do, and brings a smile to their faces. They're still commenting right now, even as I speak, about this store, which is nice. It's amazing. It's hard to find, memorabilia, like bags or boxes. I found a couple like that. Also, I want to mention they opened another store called Robert Hall Village or Robert Village Hall? I apologize for what it's called like that. Robert Hall Village, excuse me. And I will talk about that particular store later on, because I think that's when it opened. I think it opened 50 years ago this year. So once I go through the newspaper archives, and if it is that, then I'll do a podcast episode of that. Okay, the second thing I will talk about on the show is the Mattel electronic sports handheld games. And I just thought of this because, believe it or not, my brother still has it with him, but he's misplaced it. I don't know what he did with it, but it was hanging around the house, and I figured, why don't I talk about this thing? This was introduced in the late 1970s, probably 77, 78. And I remember we lived in our old house in Ashburn, and there were the 2 games. I remember maybe 3. No, there were 2. One was football, and the other one was baseball. And it was not football 1 or it was not football 2 or baseball 2. It was football 1 and football 1. The basketball, I think my other brother bought it. He did that. One day, my brothers were out. I don't know, they were out with their friends, and I had nothing to do. So I figured, and they had a couple of them lying around, and I started playing. Even though I'm not a sports fan, I figured I'd pass the time. I enjoyed it. I really did. Especially the football was tough. It really was. The baseball, little easier. Basketball, in the middle, like that. Baseball was easy. That was easy. It really was. And so the games that were introduced were, of course, football and football 2. One was white, the football one, but then it came in a green color. The basketball came in white, but I don't know if it came. I don't know about basketball 2. Maybe in a different color. I'm not sure. Also, baseball came out. Then there was hockey. I never played that. Then there was auto racing. It was auto race. And the last one was soccer. I don't know if there are any other sports. I don't think so. No, I think that's it for that. So right now I'm going to play a commercial for the Mattel Electronic Pro Football 2 handheld game. And this commercial is from 1978. So sit back and enjoy. I'll be right back with the rest of the program. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, JD, try Mattel Electronics Football 2, the all-pro version of the #1 electronic football game.
Hey, what's the difference?
Now you can kick off, run back,
Now that's good.
pass,
That's even better.
scramble in any direction.
I'm getting clobbered.
The built-in thinking computer defense can even intercept.
Who's in there?
All-pro Football 2.
I said who's in there.
Football 2, one of 9 sports games from the #1 name, Mattel Electronics.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Mattel Electronic Pro Football 2 sports games. You know, the handheld ones. I don't think they make these anymore. Maybe a different variation of them. Everything's changed. Technology's changed so quickly. I love Atari. I used to play that a lot. Right now, you can play games on your phone or your desktop or your tablet. You know, me, I'm almost 60 years old. I play bingo. I love bingo. That's how it is. But Facebook had a lot of games. They had Farmland. I think it's still around. Or there was Mafia Wars. You remember that? And there's still some games that you could play on Facebook, but not many as when Facebook introduced. And there was one game I used to like when Facebook was around. It was called Treasure Chest, and I enjoyed it very much. And then they got rid of it. Oh, I was mad. I want to continue playing, but no, they stopped like that. Mattel, they still make electronic games, I guess. I don't know. There were others like that and other companies as well. But, right now video games is like with Wii and Gamebox or something like that. I don't play much, on the TV, or PlayStation. Not really. I don't know. I just play stuff on my computer. I like word games like puzzles. I like those. Like Scrabble. That's fun. Or Monopoly. Okay. So that's it for this program. Let me do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about the Robert Hall Clothes Store in Chicago. Also the Mattel Electronic handheld games. Sports games, that is, excuse me, from the late 1970s. Okay. So once this podcast is published, it will be available wherever podcasts are. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel, Van Chicagoland Stories. You can all subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. And also be posted on my social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, and other accounts. And also on my blog, vanchicagoland.blog. Okay. For the next episode, I probably do one Saturday. I won't do one Sunday. It's Mother's Day. I want to spend time with my mom, so that's very nice. That would be very nice. I hope the weather will be nice. So this is Pete Costanis, your host of Van Chicagoland Stories. Thank you for joining me. I enjoyed this episode very much, and I hope you enjoyed it too. So here's bye-bye for me, and here's Ray Rayner closing the show saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone. So long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.